Hi again everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a beach day. I have come to the beaches north of Boston, Massachusetts to look for terns, gulls, shorebirds, and whatever else we can turn up. The first stop is going to be Revere Beach, where I'm parked right now. This is the oldest public beach in the United States. It's a very popular spot. Has a little bit of a checkered history. In the evenings, it's the place that young people come to blow off steam and get in trouble. But during the day, it's a very quiet family beach. It is a decent birding spot. It's not a great birding spot, but there are some nice birds that have been reported here. Two birds in particular that I'm going to be looking for are common terns and Manx shearwaters. I started out pretty early on a Sunday morning, and the beach was pleasantly uncrowded. So I thought I would do my introduction to this location here on the beach. That turned into a bit of a disaster, as you can hear in this clip. As you can see, I'm at the beach today. Specifically, I'm at Revere Beach, right near Boston. It turns out that even gentle ocean waves are extremely loud, so I'll be relying on voiceover narration, at least from this location. By far the most common bird hanging around New England beaches is the herring gull. Because they take 4 years to gain their adult plumage, they have a lot of different looks, making it seem like there's more variety than there actually is. Here's a nice adult herring gull, showing the red spot on the yellow bill and dull pink legs. And this is obviously a very different gull, a great black-backed gull, otherwise known as the bully of the beach. This is the largest gull in the world, and they like to throw their weight around. This is also our first new bird for the channel list today. Here's an immature great black-backed gull in flight. Immatures are harder to separate from immature herring gulls, but the massive bill is always a good field mark. And here's a third gull species, a group of ring-billed gulls. Ring-billed gulls have identical adult plumage to herring gulls, but are much smaller. They can also be separated by their more delicate bill with a black ring at the tip and by their yellow legs. As I walked down the beach, I started noticing common terns flying just offshore. That was one of my targets for the day. The terns were also hovering over the water looking for food, giving me some opportunities for video. The video footage I took turned out so-so, but I did get some decent flight shots. I kind of like the way these shots with overexposed background came out. Another bird that I was noticing running around on the beach were these tiny piping plovers, which breed on many of the beaches in Massachusetts. This second piping plover was photographed later in the morning. You can see the difference in the lighting once the sun was higher. Do you recognize these dark, stocky shorebirds? Yep, that's right, they're pigeons. This is a pretty urban location after all. Pigeons are actually a new bird for the channel list, and I'm happy to film them here in a natural setting rather than under a bridge or on a sidewalk. This fellow has an interesting color scheme, clearly the result of extensive breeding by pigeon fanciers. So another bird that I was looking for at Revere Beach was Manx shearwaters. These are true ocean birds that are normally only seen on offshore boat trips, but they happen to breed close to shore here at Revere Beach and are reported pretty regularly. I did end up seeing a couple of them, but flying well offshore. This was the best I could do in terms of a photograph. We're definitely not adding this one to the channel list quite yet. After spending a few hours here and walking a few miles up and down the beach, I wasn't seeing anything else new and I was about ready to move to my next location. Then in the distance I spotted a small white bird in the water all by itself. At first I thought it might be a tern, but when I got it in my binoculars I realized that it was a Bonaparte's gull. I moved closer and managed to get some nice video. This bird is in non-breeding plumage, as indicated by the white head with a dark spot behind the ear. In breeding plumage, these birds have an all-black head. This was a nice surprise. I hadn't seen one yet this year, and I usually don't see them until later in the fall. It's a good thing I hustled over to film this guy because he is out of here. Okay, so I'm back in the car after my visit to Revere Beach. Just thought I'd wrap that up before we head to our next stop. And that was a great stop. I really enjoyed it. I think the highlight for me was filming the common terns flying by, diving into the water. I've been working on my camera settings and working on my bird in flight photos. I think I got some good ones, we'll see. And I even got some video of the terns flying. It's very hard to video birds in flight, let me tell you. Another highlight was actually the Bonaparte's gull too. That was sort of a nice surprise. One thing about visiting a beach, you really never know what you're going to find. So Bonaparte's gulls are the less common gull that we have here in Massachusetts. It's always nice to bump into one. As we transition towards our next location, here's a little B-roll of Revere Beach, looking to the north from the south end of the beach. By the way, did I mention that Boston's Logan Airport is just a couple of miles away? I guess I finally got some steady bird in flight footage. Okay, so I've arrived at my second location now, which is just a few miles away from Revere Beach, the one I just left. At this location, I'm going to be looking for one specific bird, which is hopefully going to be breeding here, and that is the American Oystercatcher. This is a spectacular looking shorebird, so I've really got my fingers crossed that I'll be able to get some video of it. I'm not going to mention the name of this beach just because it is a bit sensitive that this bird is breeding there right now. So let's see if we can find it. Well, I didn't keep you in suspense for very long. The oystercatchers were right where I was hoping they would be. What great looking birds. This mother and chick gave me great looks, and I enjoyed watching their interactions. After filming these oyster catchers for just a few minutes, I made my retreat. I was only at this location for about 15 to 20 minutes total. Okay, wow, that was really amazing. That was just a short trip up the beach. Found the oyster catchers right away. They came closer to me as I was watching them, so I was really able to film them from short range. And it was just so nice to see the interactions between the mother and the chick. It looked like the chick was hungry or was bored or something and kept headbutting the mother. I mean, you don't like to anthropomorphize the birds too much, but I mean, it just kind of reminded me of an angry toddler with her mother, just kind of like, let's go, let's do this, let's do something else, I'm bored. And then also, of course, they're just spectacular birds with that huge orange bill. So that was really cool. Okay, so I have one more stop in mind, and I'll come back to you when we get there. As a transition towards our next stop, here's a little killdeer footage I got on my walk back to the car. Okay, I've arrived at my third location, my third beach of the day. This one is called Winthrop Beach. It's a very protected beach. It has these 5 huge breakwaters that you can see over my shoulder there. These breakwaters really keep the waves down. They're known as the 5 Sisters. So this is Winthrop Beach and the 5 Sisters. This location has breeding colonies of least terns and also piping plovers. So if you saw my video about my visit to Plum Island that I put out a few weeks ago, I also saw least terns and piping plovers at that location. And we saw piping plovers at Revere Beach. So the piping plovers are actually doing very well. All the locations I've visited have lots of them, and I'm going to see if I can get some footage of a piping plover chick at this location, because I was told by someone that there are some that have hatched recently here at Winthrop Beach. So let's see what we can find. The first thing I noticed here at Winthrop Beach was the loud sounds coming from the least tern colony. The second thing I noticed was this family of common eider quite close to shore. Breeding and raising young is definitely the main theme of birding this time of year. It didn't take me long to find a bunch of piping plovers running around. I must have seen over a dozen here at Winthrop Beach. This chick is just about half grown, and I doubt it can fly yet, but it certainly can scurry around the beach quite well. Okay, well that was a lot of fun too. I was able to get some nice video of a piping plover chick. I got some decent flight shots of the least terns. Wasn't able to get any video of the least terns. They are just the craziest flyers. They just zigzag all over the place. It's really impossible. Good to see both of those colonies doing extremely well. They both look like they're thriving. And it was also nice to see the common eider with the chicks. I see common eider in the wintertime all the time. In fact, they form big rafts of hundreds of birds, but that's the first time I've ever seen common eider chicks, and so that was really fun to see. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed this little survey of the summer beach birds near Boston, Massachusetts, and I'll see you in the next one.